If you can get someone to have his attention
Complete
focused
attention.
on you while you're telling him a story, you know that you're in good shape. But if you're telling a story and his eyes have already moved someplace else,
Right.
stop your story. He stopped paying attention.
Let's open up by talking about your journey. I mean, you've had a successful career before you joined OHEL. What motivated you to join OHEL? What was the backstory, if you will? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot.
Not at all. It's a pleasure to be here, and I comment to people when they ask me what my relationship or association with OHEL, how long I've been with OHEL. And I like to say that I've been with OHEL an amazing 21 years, and I've never had a bad day.
Wow.
I've had difficult days. Everyone has hard days, but I've never had a bad day. A bad day means that you don't want to go to work that day, that you're not looking forward to going to work. That's a bad day. I've never had, thankfully, thank God, a bad day at OHEL. I've always looked forward to coming to work, to wanting to be with the people, to wanting to be involved with this remarkable organization.
One reason that OHEL flourishes is its diverse programming. You touched on it a few moments ago about always being there for the need as it comes up. How critical is it to remain a step ahead and kind of see things coming at you and be there when the need arises rather than just being a step behind and being reactive?
Once a year, I give a talk to our staff at OHEL, my colleagues at OHEL, and hopefully it's a motivational talk, I hope.
Okay.
They still come, so hopefully it's they're still interested in it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time saying that I remember a third grade Rebbe or a third grade teacher once said to all the boys when they were about to go away for the summer, how you have to continue to strive, how you have to continue to improve. Right. That if you're going to spend this summer coming back in September being the same person that you are in June, you went backwards. Because standing still means going backwards. Now that thought stayed with me for a very long time, since the third grade. And I think it's a very important comment in life. Wow. You can't stand still. You always have to improve. That doesn't mean that you grow by leaps and bounds every day or every month, but you always have to strive to get better. You can do that by reading. You can do that by listening. You can do that by watching. That's the concept that we try to take at OHEL. You always have to improve. You can't sit still. That means becoming smarter through the training institute that OHEL has, educationally, learning. That means developing new services. That means finding out from the customers, our clients, our residents, our patients, what they need. So you always strive to do better, and you'll always find a way to do more.
Mr. Mandel, OHEL is known for its transparency. And I mean, there's a wealth of information that's on the website alone. But now talking about the concept of transparency, how critical is that in the business world and all the more so in the nonprofit world?
If you are an organization that relies on public funds, which all not-for-profits in the public sector, if you're an organization that relies on donor funds, on foundation funds, you must do it because it's a requirement when you submit any proposals. It's an understanding that you must have when you're speaking with any sophisticated donor. About 20 years ago, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. When Wall Street companies were getting into trouble restating their earnings on billions of dollars, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley, which required that dealt with transparency. OHEL, the not-for-profit world, was not required to follow the same standards, but OHEL, once again led by our board of directors, our chief financial officer, we made a decision that to the extent possible, we will follow it. So we follow transparency laws. We have a very active finance committee of the board of directors. We have a very active audit committee of the board of directors. We have an active risk management committee of the board of directors. Those are three legs that help an organization, individuals like myself, the CEO, the CFO, deal with transparency. We, as professionals, have an obligation to the board. The board has an obligation to the community and the donors. Once you understand what your responsibility is, it's fairly easy to implement it.
Wow. Wow. But it's, of course, having all those concrete steps in place and adhering to them that's key.
Every once in a while, a colleague in the field calls and asks for information or advice about how to deal in a certain situation or how to deal, whatever the crisis or the problem may be. My very first question, whether I'm speaking with a principal, a leader, a community, my very first question is, tell me about your board of directors. And so often, too often, the response is, I don't have a board.
Wow.
We don't have a board.
Just like that.
Or they're not active. Well, then the conversation starts from there. You need to have a board of directors, as any organization that's publicly financed for whatever amount of money, regardless of what they do, regardless of what field they're in, a board of directors is essential, because then that's the wheel in the car that obligates you to put your hands on the steering wheel, and then you don't always get there,
Right.
and you get there with problems, and
But-
it's not easy,
But
but your hand is on the steering wheel.
wow. Now, businesses and organizations alike occasionally face what we'll call "quote unquote" bad press. Thank God, OHEL is blessed with a stellar reputation. What recommendations could you suggest to the audience on how to kind of stay with a great reputation, and if God forbid there's a surprise, how to deal with it?
That's such a great, complex question. I would like your hundreds of thousands of listeners to please call in and give me advice on this one. This is one of those areas where when you seek advice from three people, you get four opinions. So thankfully, over the years, we have had a few of those situations, thank God, but it's the issue that keeps you up at night. And as Moshe Hellman says, and is a famous proverb, the only thing that a person owns is their name. When you die, the only thing you have left is your name, a good name. A good name is better than anything else. So we've had a situation in which we've sought advice from really some of the smartest thinkers. And you really get two responses. One is call back the media, respond to every question. You can't, especially the major media.
Right.
Don't ignore it. It doesn't go away. Prepare yourself. Prepare a press release. Talk to people like Yitzchok Saftlas at Bottom Line,
Thank you.
who can provide crisis management and public relations. And the other school of thought is don't respond.
Right.
So this is where we are. And we've spent a lot of time thinking about it. We've had one or two situations. So the advice that we would give to people from what we learned is, number one, you need to respond. It doesn't go away. Number two, huddle with a group of people on your board. If you have a head of communications, marketing, public relations on your staff, if you want to engage an outside company, whoever that might be, or an outside individual, don't go through it alone. Do not go into a bunker mentality.
Okay.
Don't lock yourself up and think that it's all going to be okay.
Right.
Allow people to provide you information and support. Recognize that alone can be a traumatic experience
Right.
with a small T, hopefully. Prepare a written response. Always respond in email. Don't get into a telephone conversation.
Great advice.
You're going to be misquoted, not intentionally, but that's the world of media, very concise. Right. And prepare to deal with it.
Wow. I mean, we certainly hope no one has to navigate that situation, but as David has pointed out, it's such actually great advice. Wow. Now, let's talk about OHEL's programs and appeal. We know that sometimes certain projects or ways of servicing the public are more marketable than others. From a fundraising standpoint, are there any tips on that?
Once again, it's a very important question, and the best answer is to always talk about the client. Whenever we meet with a donor, a funder, any group of people, or they don't have to be a donor, you're just meeting with anyone, we try to keep two concepts in mind. I try to keep two concepts in mind. First, talk about the client, don't talk about the organization. Don't talk about what OHEL does. Yitzchok, let me tell you about a person that we're serving.
Amazing.
Let me tell you about a family that we're helping. And number two, don't talk about the past. Talk about the present. It's much more relevant if I tell you about a story that happened yesterday than if I tell you something that happened 10 years ago or 40 years ago. Again, in today's age that we live in, with the quickness, with the impatience, if you can get someone like we are looking at each other right now, literally, if you can get someone to have his attention focused on you while you're telling him a story, you know that you're in good shape. But if you're telling a story and his eyes have already moved someplace else, stop your story. He stopped paying attention. Talk about a client, talk about someone that you helped today. Can I give you an example?
Of course. Sure.
Every once in a while, I get a note from someone, months or years after we spoke. And I just click on that email every once in a while, and I just look at it, and it just livens me up.
Right.
I want to read to you two sentences
from
an email I recently got.
Sure.
This is a couple that I was helping a number of years ago, and wherever they moved on, they moved on. They write me a note. We owe you a tremendous amount of gratitude for always being there for us. Your knowledge and words of encouragement have been a beacon of hope during this difficult stage in our life. Their challenge is infertility. And one might wonder, well, what does that have to do with OHEL? We help everyday people with everyday problems. So we were giving them some advice. I was helping them out in their situation. And they took the time to write a thank you note, which most people don't.
Yeah. That when you're getting something that represents thousands of others that should, but don't.
You know, I like to say, I've never in 21 years gotten a call at OHEL that says, Mandel, I'm calling to tell you that everything is good. I'm happy.
Well, I hope it happens after the show, but
I'm happy. I don't need OHEL services. So these type of two-sentence email, oh my gosh.
Now, David, I've known you for a number of years. I mean, I have the good fortune of knowing you for many years. You're an exceptionally caring person. How do you permeate? How do you give that over that a staff of 1,500 people can also take on that great responsibility, that mantra that you feel so passionate about?
First of all, thank you very much for your compliment. I don't accept it.
It's true.
I appreciate it. I would like to believe that the answer is passion. I would like to believe that the answer is that I really do appreciate that we can make a difference. I used to think, Yitzchok, that our job at OHEL was to change the world every day. And then I learned that maybe our job is to help the community every day. And today I understand that if we can help one person a day, if everyone at OHEL can somehow help one person a day that's standing in front of them, or that's on the other side of the internet that they're talking to, if you can touch one person a day, you've made a difference. All you need to do in this world is make a difference. And if you feel like you're making a difference, and if you believe that you're part of a team, of a group, of an organization that's making a difference, if you believe that, the rest is really easy.
77 WABC Radio presents Mind Your Business, hosted by founder and president of Bottom Line Marketing Group, Yitzchok Saftlas. Mind Your Business focuses on business and marketing strategies for success.